That was the story we're being told around the shop. All these gorgeous women were getting hauled in to go to a photo shoot at some ranch out there.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this. Okay, so this is over 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 some on.
You're working as a young A&P in New Mexico.
So we have the doors open on the hangar, and this blacked out Gulfstream pulls up on the ramp. So we're out there checking it out, and this whole string of blacked out SUVs that kind of match the airplane pull up right after it stops. And this whole string of just gorgeous women get off that airplane and pile into those SUVs and take off. And it was like, what the hell was that? It was very out of place for what we're used to there.
Right. You're not in LA,
No.
You're not in New York, you're in New Mexico.
Yeah, it was not a normal everyday occurrence there. So then a couple days later, all those SUVs show up. They all climb back on the airplane and blast off. And so we're asking the front desk people and everything, like, what was that all about? And they're like, oh, it's a group of Victoria's Secret models going out to some ranch for a photo shoot. And we're like, wow, that was pretty wild. And then, I don't know, 2 weeks, couple weeks, whatever later, that airplane pulls up again. So we all run out there to watch it again. And it's the same thing happens. And then over the course of the next few months, it happens 4 or 5 times. I don't know. And then it's been so long ago, I hadn't even thought of this in years. I was reading a post on X here a while back, and they were going on about something to do with this Jeffrey Epstein case. There was a line in there that said something about Zorro Ranch, and that's when it clicked. I was like, that's the name of the ranch back in New Mexico all those years ago. That's where they were taking all those models to do the photo shoots and stuff. And so that's when it clicked to me. I was like, that's crazy. Now the current landowners allowing them to go out there and like excavate for looking for bodies and investigating that crime and all that stuff. And back then we just thought it was this crazy next level life thing, of all these models going on. We had no idea any of that crazy stuff was going on, but it was pretty wild.
Dude, did y'all ever work on that plane?
Yeah, we did like some line maintenance and stuff. We never did like heavy stuff, but yeah, we worked on it a little bit.
Dude, you have had a crazy life, man.
That's it, man. All kinds of crazy stuff all the time.
Well, I guess it's time to talk about it, man. You ready to knock this first episode out?
I'm super ready.
Let's do it.
I'm Travis. Welcome to Jet Cowboy. Man, I'm excited about how the studio turned out.
Me too, man. Yeah. I know we went through a couple of different ideas for the backdrop, but dude, I really am pleased with how it came out. And man, this is for sure the most exciting podcast I've gotten to produce, man. So
I'm excited to have you here and be in charge of it. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a good run for sure. Dude, you got to tell the people the story about the hat, man. Because I'm all griping about the sweat stains and stuff on it. You're like, let me tell you a story, son.
I wish I could do a Morgan Freeman voice. But
that'd be epic.
Yeah. So you know, when you were doing all this and you told me, hey, I need a hat. I need to go. I think you were talking about buying a hat. I'm like, dude, I got hats. Don't worry about it. Right. So I bring you a hat. And you're like,
I was like, you can't even bring me a clean one?
Yeah. You're like, this one's all dirty. You got sweat stains all over it and shit. So that hat goes back a long ways, though, because back when I started my very first maintenance shop, I was doing my first ever NBAA maintenance regional event down in Dallas. So we're driving from, me and a couple other guys are driving from Amarillo down to Dallas for that event. And along the way, we're like out in the middle of nowhere. And something at this little like feed store caught our attention. I think it was like a cool hunting blind or something was sitting out there. So we stopped to look at it. And when we go in there, they had this hat on the display in there. And I was wearing a black, real low end felt hat at the time. And I'd always wanted a silver belly hat. That one was sitting in there. And I was like, dude, I freaking love this hat. But it was like $100 or whatever it was, some compared to what I wear now, it was nothing. But at the time, I'm like, dude, counting in my head, can I afford this hat and still do what I'm doing and like all this stuff. So finally I'm like, dude, I want this hat. I'm buying this hat. So I buy it, wore it for years. And it's like I don't know, like a 20X Stetson or something, pretty low end. My hats now, I custom order all of them and they're all high end and I'm just a hat nerd. I love them. Right. So
keeping Junior in business, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Junior's my guy. I love his stuff. When I walked in and saw it hanging there, I was like, nostalgic, I was like, dude, I distinctly remember going in that store, buying that hat, the way I felt when I bought it, and I felt like I was spending a fortune on this hat, and it just brought back a lot of memories. It was pretty fun.
Tells a good story though, man, all the way from not being sure if you could buy a hat to managing fleets of private jets.
Yeah,
that's
pretty epic.
Dude, let's go.
Yeah.
What are you excited about in the private aviation space right now? And in your world in it?
Yeah, I mean, we're we're growing so much every day and adding new team members every day. And, we just opened another location in New York last week. We've got, I don't even know how many different things going on right now as far as new locations we're betting out. We're getting ready to roll out a whole new fleet of AOG trucks, which for people that don't know, that's like when you break down somewhere and you need a truck to come to your airplane, those vehicles.
It's expensive to tow a plane. So.
Yeah, they don't turn into gliders very well. You got to tow them really fast. So yeah, and a lot of one of the luxuries of a private jet is you can land at these small airports out in the middle of nowhere. Well, the downside of that is if something happens and you're not at a normal big airport, to me those are normal airports, but you know what I mean, there's no infrastructure, no support there, so you've got to call an AOG team to come out there and get you going on the airplane. So we lean on those people a lot with our fleet of airplanes, but with all of our maintenance shops and everything, we also do a lot of that. But now we're going to have a whole new dedicated division that's just running those trucks, and it'll take us a little time to be nationwide on it, but we're going to drop our first one down in Florida, and then we've got to get something out in like the Phoenix Valley, Scottsdale area, somewhere out there, and a few other areas that are kind of high priority for us, and then start kind of filling in the gaps around the map on that. And so I'm excited about that piece of it. I think that'll really elevate our offerings to our clientele and being able to support them better.
Hey guys, I'm Chris with Haven ASG. I wanted to give you a tour of our new AOG truck that we just got completed. We went ahead and went with the Ford. And then on the back here, this is called a space cap. The reason we went with this over a traditional van that you normally see in the field is if we have any problems with the truck, we can easily remove that, add it to a different truck, and then also compared to a van, we are still able to pull a trailer. If we have to take a scissor lift or anything to the aircrafts, it's more multi-purpose, having four-wheel drive, bad winters, so that's the reasoning. So back here, got our LED lights so we can see in the middle of the night. With this setup, what we had done is up here, this is a bottle rack that we had installed so we can put nitrogen, oxygen, whatever is needed. Here we got cubbies. The plan for these is basic necessities for AOG stuff, light bulbs, greases, the basic parts. Nice little holders up in here that we can put screws, different hardware. Like I said, the basics, keep it all organized. And then on this side, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all our tooling, cut out our torque wrenches, all the specialty tooling will be over here. And then it's also got hooks that will be installed here so a ladder can hang. Up here, big flat area, parts, computer, whatever you need, printer, just extra storage. So this is our first truck that we've gotten done. Just came out of getting wrapped. Second one is getting wrapped currently, and we're just going to keep expanding, just keep bringing one after another and start helping our customers, start spreading out more, covering the United States with these.
And then, we've got a whole slew of new managed aircraft coming on right now. We've got a G4, I think 3 or 4 more 900s, 2 or 3 more Falcon 50s, and we got a couple of Hawkers. We got
about time Nick had something to do.
Right, just twiddling his thumbs, right?
So, and are most of those coming out of Miami, or?
There's a lot of them out of Florida. We've got some in a few other spots, and most of those aircraft, they don't live anywhere. They're what we call floating airplanes, so they just live wherever the next flight is until they need to go home for maintenance or something.
Yeah.
But like we have one of them dropped in here to Amarillo that we got here right now, and we can run down there and get some pictures of it or video.
For sure, man.
So this is one of our EMS birds that we're doing the full completion on. Double engine change, got the interior, a whole bunch of mod work on that one. Another retrofit, a couple of engines, sprucing up the interior, cleaning that one up. It needs some love. That one over there is just one of the CJ3s, doing like one of the docks. I think we're doing a Dock 22 on that one. But this is that Falcon 50 we've been talking about. This is one of them that we have on our Haven charter fleet. As we talked about earlier, this one is like on a coast to coast, so it dropped into Amarillo to get some scheduled maintenance done on it. So they'll get it all cleaned up, get these tests and everything done on it, and then get it back on the road and get it put back to work. That's a common misconception on these, is people think the engine's way up there in the top of the airplane, and it's not. I think they're doing like some fire loop tests and some other engine work, so they got them opened up, getting that done. This is the aft equipment bay, so you got like your auxiliary power unit, APU is mounted up in here, along with a lot of the hydraulic systems and batteries and electrical systems. All that stuff's up in there. In our industry, that's known as the hellhole. Compared to a lot of other airplanes, this is actually a pretty friendly one to work in. It's not too bad. In your aft baggage compartment here, they got some stuff taken apart in here that they're working on, but as you can see, it goes way up there. It's large capacity baggage area on this airplane. This is something you don't see on the ground a lot if you're not around these airplanes. These are the leading edge slats that are deployed right now. So when you're flying along and looking out the window, these leading edges are retracted back here flush with the wing. But whenever you're coming in to land, those flaps go down on the back and these slats come down on the front because it increases the camber of the wing. So it makes the airplane fly at a lower airspeed to get a safer ground landing speed. When they're in here for maintenance, you'll see stuff like this where like this pink flag's hanging off. It's just a visual indicator they got something taken apart in there so it don't get forgot. So in addition to getting wrote down in the logbook, it's just a quick visual cue that something's going on in there. So you'll see a lot of weird stuff like that when they're in for maintenance. Let's go in the airplane and check it out. I don't want to fire it all up because I don't know if they got unhooked to turn on any power or anything, but you guys, if you go back and watch the Flyin High episode with OMAR ELATTAR, you'll recognize this airplane. This is the one that we recorded that episode with him on. So yeah, it's a nice, big, spacious stand-up cabin. It's got lots of room in it. Got a really good bathroom in it.
So much room for activities.
So much room for activities.
We need to know though, is that a belted lab?
It is a belted lab. More importantly though, it's a flushing lab and it has a freshwater sink in it. So you get down in the smaller categories of jets, they'll have a lab that doesn't have a sink and all that stuff in it. This is like a full-blown restroom in it, so much nicer than what you get on the light jets. So like if you're flying along with a cabin hostess, this is a spot the cabin hostess would hang out and has access to all your liquors, drinks, sodas, coffee. You've got catering that can all be prepared and organized right here and handed out to you as well. So that's another pretty cool aspect of getting up into the super mids and larger cabin aircraft. So yeah, we always love when our aircraft get to drop into the hangar here in Amarillo. It's fun to get your hands on them once in a while. They're out in the field flying and working all the time. So. But it was due for some maintenance. It was on a cross country, so that's the benefit of it, right? You just drop it in here, and that's one of the really cool things about this Amarillo location is geographically centered right. East and West Coast, and a lot of that jet traffic is East Coast, West Coast. So,
and then on north-south, right?
Yeah.
We got our international.
For customs.
Yeah.
So that's another cool thing that we got up the sleeve here at the FBO now is if you're flying out of Mexico and you have an overflight permit, you don't have to land right on the border and try to deal with all your customs clearance down there. You can just fly all the way to Amarillo and clear customs here. Whether you're coming here or not, it's a low volume airport comparatively to those.
100%.
Yeah, so super easy process to land here and clear customs now. And so we're excited to be able to offer that out there. And we've had quite a few people do that. I was urgent about wanting the customs thing because I figured we'd catch a ton of that Mexico traffic. What's caught me off guard, or surprised me, I guess I should say, is we actually have cleared more out of Canada than we have out of Mexico.
And they're sorry about that. That's a Canadian sorry joke. I'll wait in the car.
A Canadian sorry joke. Oh, Lord.
Because they say I'm sorry a lot. Yeah, it's fine. And then, man, you're about to bounce out of town, man. I'm like going to see you for like the next month. What you got coming up?
Yeah, we got Business Summit all next week out in Scottsdale. So we'll be in Scottsdale pretty much all next week. And then we've got the ranch out there in New Mexico. And so we're going to go, we leave the kids out there for a little while and call it Camp Grandpa and go leave them with my dad to play around on the ranch for a few weeks. And so
have the elk been coming back? Because I know when we were there, they were scarce.
They're definitely not what they were a few years ago, but the drought's still real bad out there. They've picked up quite a bit. Wiley watches the game cams every day and checks it and stuff, and they're coming back, but not quite to the volume they were before. You can tell the count's down a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
But he and I both drew really good mule deer tags out in a different area of New Mexico, so we're pretty excited about that. We're got a good chance of getting some good mule deer this fall.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And then after Scottsdale, we've got so Andy Frizella started this really cool new piece of technology called Operator Standards, and so there's like a founders group, a meeting that's going on out in St. Louis for that. We're going to be out here in a couple weeks, and then what we got after that? I think then we got to run back down to South Florida for a couple days. We're going to run up and check out the new operation up in Rochester, New York, and just we're all over the place. It's
running and gunning, man.
Going, yeah.
That was wild. I like it though.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it.
And you got the kids racing in between, man.
Yeah, we raced last night, and Wiley got third in his class, and then Amelia's gonna fire her crew chief. So,
which is you.
Yeah, that's
you had a good run.
So she had a problem with one of her wheels, and I worked on it, and then the
if only there had been a real mechanic around.
Exactly right.
Where's Chris? We need top 40 under 40 on that, bro.
You need to put Chris on it. So yeah, long story, but her wheel assembly broke and like slid into the bearing assembly. So basically driving like with her brakes on. So she still finished the race, but she came in like fourth or whatever. And
was the tire flat on one side?
Yeah.
Dang.
No, but I don't know. They're kind of like me. You ain't first, you're last.
Right.
What's happening, everybody? We are on opening day for practice out here at the Silver Dollar Speedway in Amarillo. The kids are going into the Outlaw carts this year, so they're starting in the Junior 2 class. And these are running on 8th Mile clay oval. This track here is fairly flat. It doesn't have a lot of bank in it, but overall what this sport is you're taking a clone engine, running it on a go-kart frame, running the wing that you get your aerodynamics out of, and basically it's just a real small version of what you might see with the Outlaw carts. And then on this track you start all the way from some of these other carts over here are like the little they call them, what do they call those? Young guns. Yeah, the real little toddlers start in those little carts called young guns, and then they move into this type of a cart that's called you go into Junior 1, Junior 2, Junior 3. This cart that they're starting on right now is a Junior 2, but they'll probably move into Junior 3 pretty quickly.
Getting in the zone. Hell yeah.
Kind of like scary, but I kind of like built my confidence throughout it and got better at it, so.
How was it, man?
Fun.
Give me more than one word.
Oh, I drove it really fast and I overlapped my sister.
I had never even like been to a dirt track before I started following you around and filming the kids doing their thing. But dude, that is a wild. It's like a sport, right?
Oh yeah,
you consider sport a wild sport. I just had no grid for it, but you get out there, man, and he's got these dope trailers, and like it's crazy to me like how much fine tuning is going in. Like y'all. It's like the whole community takes it so seriously, and it's really coming down to these minute tweaks.
It's very competitive.
And dude, like the littlest kids out there, man, crack me up, bro. Because like, I'm like, when I was that age, I was eating dirt, and these kids are out there just hauling ass, man, on the track. It's pretty cool, dude.
It gets, the dirt track community gets lumped into this kind of redneck culture and all this stuff, and believe me, there is some of that going on, but when you get in there and actually understand how technical it is and how hard it is and the amount of money that goes into it, it's a phenomenal sport. I freaking love it. And like, Amelia's really into F1, and obviously that's like the billionaire sport and everyone loves it. And I like F1, but I love dirt track. Watching like 410 sprint cars is like, that's my retirement gig. I'm going to go play with 410 sprint cars. Like, I love it.
It is wild.
Yeah.
I dig it, man. Yeah. So what were you into as a kid?
Picking my nose.
Yeah.
No, like, I was into dirt bikes, four-wheelers, BMX, all the kind of more mainstream stuff. I don't know. We didn't really have access to that. We could not have done what we're doing with these kids. Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah, we had Huffy bikes.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, exactly. The closest thing I got to that was clipping the playing card on my spoke so that it sounded like a motorcycle, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
But,
absolutely.
No, and we got to spend a ton of time on the ranch, and I enjoyed the shit out of that, and just playing with cows and riding the horses and doing the ranch life stuff, and so.
Right.
But we never, we never got into real organized sports and all that stuff. So it was just. It was a different time. It was kind of get the hell out of the house in the morning and see you tonight and do whatever you want. And you kind of had to invent your own fun all day, every day, and made for a lot of resilience and you just got to figure shit out.
Yeah. When did you realize? Well, you probably didn't even realize till later, but looking back, when did you first get bit with the entrepreneurial bug?
Man, I definitely didn't recognize it at the time that's what it was, but like one of the earlier things that I can remember with it was like in, I think it's 5th grade, the tech decks that they have now, the skateboards.
Oh yeah.
Well, like in 5th grade, way before the real tech decks existed, we used to get like those Thrasher magazines and stuff where they'd have like that page with the skateboards images printed on them.
Decks,
holographic decks.
Yeah.
And so we started cutting those decks out, and then you'd use like your folder, cut it out to the same shape as your folder, and you'd kind of make a sandwich stack of it and all covered in Elmer's glue, and then you'd put it all together and kind of shape the nose and the tail and give it the skateboard look, and then let it dry out, and then you'd put grip tape on it, and then you just had these little fingerboards. Well, I started making like a whole shitload of those, and I had my big old baggie of them, and I'd go around selling them all day at school, and it was just fun. I didn't realize it was entrepreneurial, but it was. And then I was constantly like some more mainstream stuff, like trying to mow lawns and doing all that. But I always had some weird little side gig going on. And even after I got my A&P license, like I go to work for someone during the day, but at night I always had some little thing. Like I started this little gig at one point where it was called Ill Built Customs, and I was building street bikes. So I'd strip them down and reshape the gas tanks and paint them. And then
West Coast choppers,
so
bro.
I was gonna say, like right around that time, like I was doing that for a couple of years and did several bikes that way. And so I'm like 18, 19 years old, started doing a little bit of it, and then like a year or two after that, that Orange County choppers thing took off, and that blew up into this big old show. And I was like, dude, I've been doing that for years.
Dang.
And I just didn't know what to do with it. And so always something like that, I've always been really artistic. So painting cars, painting bikes, designing stuff, like whatever. And I never had the business side of it early on. It was always I knew I wanted to create things and build things and do things, but I wasn't real talented at figuring out how to take it to the next level of actually making a functioning business out of it real early on. It took a while and some lessons to figure out that side of it.
Yeah, so you had the creativity and you had the work ethic, but you needed that business know-how on how to build out the structure of the business.
Yeah, like my environment of people I was around, I wasn't around business owners and entrepreneurs and people that knew how to funnel it that way, and I didn't naturally know how. And this was way before the Google was rampant, and you couldn't just look stuff up. You just figure shit out as you went, and
it was before the interwebs, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When did you make the shift from motorcycles into aviation? Or let me ask you this: was there ever a moment where you thought like you might go down the motorcycle route, like as a career, or?
Yes, but not before aviation. Like I already had my A&P license. I went.
Oh, that was paying for the bikes.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
That was paying for the bikes and paying for the stuff to go do it. But yeah, I was really into it and I loved doing it. So there for a while, I was like, maybe I'll quit wrenching on airplanes and just go do this full time. And now I'm glad it didn't, but it just didn't play out that way. But I just as easily could have went down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Taking that flight path. Bro, I've been holding back all the aviation puns, man, but they're going to bubble up once in a while.
They're building up, huh? Got to flush them all out.
That's true.
Yeah.
It happens, man. That entrepreneur thing early, dude. Wiley comes by it honestly, then, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Wiley, come over here and tell the people about your crazy app invention thing. Just lean into this mic right here. Impromptu appearance by Wiley.
The greasy goose.
The crazy goose. You gotta step up towards the mic though.
You gotta stand
So
closer.
my app's called SkyCost, and it's one of the first AI built apps that can help you track all your flights and see how much a Gulfstream G650 cost, and like it helps you with like financials on it.
Heck yeah, man. How's that been going?
Good. I got AviaCost. I chatted with him on X, and I'm asking for his opinion on it so I can fix it more.
Nice.
AviaCost is what we use to do a lot of our back-end operating cost analysis, and the guy that owns that place is really cool, and he does a phenomenal job with AviaCost, and for what he's doing, it's kind of in parallel, similar type thing, so I didn't know he was chatting with AviaCost. That's fun.
Dude,
Yeah.
way to take initiative, man. Where can people get the app?
It's a website. Search up skycost.com and you get a free 7-day trial, and then you have to sign up.
Cool.
Boom. And we'll put that in the show notes, man. Cool stuff, man. Yeah. Every day's hustling, man.
hustling. Yeah.
Good stuff. I like
He's
it.
always got some crazy stuff going on.
Dude, so you've been like really pushing the gas on the implementation of AI into Haven and everything you're doing. Talk to us a little bit about that. It's been crazy.
Well, so we've got a full-time AI developer on staff now. That was a whole fun story in and of itself. So Caden is our dude. And so Caden hit me up on LinkedIn one day. He's like, hey, I do these AI fractional evaluations, whatever. I get like a jillion of those a day. So if the first one didn't register, I'm like, whatever. And not even whatever. I just didn't even see it or notice it. And then he hit me up 2 or 3 more times. And so then I finally read his stuff and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, because I'm trying to self-implement AI stuff, and I'm not the guru on it by any stretch. I'm just trying to self-teach on how do we use it, where's it going, what's it good for.
And you've caught like where it's going, and like you're not going to be left behind.
No. But that was the early phase, was like, well, is this hype, or is this actual business function, or what is this? And so anyway, I talked to him on LinkedIn 2, 3, 4 times, I don't know. And then I think he's the one that finally put it together. However it happened, we finally realized we're both in Amarillo. Like, because we're talking on LinkedIn and didn't realize,
bro.
I didn't realize, he may have known early on, I didn't realize the pieces that he was in Amarillo.
Yeah.
And then finally one day he's like, he put some message like, dude, we're both in Amarillo. I'm like, then just come out here and see me. What are you doing? And so we set up a meeting, and he comes out, and we go and sit in the conference room, and he gives me his whole spiel, and he's like, so what do you think, and want to engage with me and do this or whatever? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, no, you just need to come to work for me full time. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I said, what I need is way more than one little piece of project, one side deal. I don't do anything halfway. I said, if we're going to do this, I want it all the way. And to do that, I like you. I trust that you have the ability to take us in the right direction. But if we're going to do it, I want you full time. And he's like, well, I need to go think about it. And I was like, okay. And I made some kind of joke like, well, you can think about it between here and the door kind of thing, whatever. But no, we talked about it a couple times. And finally he's like, dude, I think this is what I want to do. I want to put all my effort into one really badass project instead of having to focus on all these piecemeal things. So he's been here for a couple months, and so instead of trying to do like what a lot of people are doing, is they're taking their normal systems and processes and just trying to bolt AI automation type shit on top of it.
Right.
you may get some incremental gains and help, but it doesn't work to build foundationally that way and to the scale that we're building this to. So basically, he's in the background right now, completely redoing all of our tech stack from the ground up with the end in mind. So starting with and right now the company's more or less just still running on our traditional programs, because we're going to build that from the ground up and then roll it out as a completed package. And the problem right now is we do so many different things that there's no single SaaS product out there that solves all of our problems. So we're running 14 or 15 different pieces of software to solve different needs, where now it creates where you got 2 or 3 CRM. I think at one point we had 4 different CRMs going. Dang. And so the maintenance CRM doesn't know exactly what's going on with the management CRM, that doesn't know what's the FBO, the charter, like all these things they're not connected enough to give the experience that I want to give at the tier I want to give it at. So the way we're doing this, it puts it all in one place, and we're going to have a Haven proprietary operating system that runs everything from the ground up, and we're getting real close. Like, it blows my mind how much he can do in a day. Like,
dude, he's a freaking monster.
It's so crazy, dude. He's a phenomenal ad.
I always think about the Avengers are always like, we have a Hulk. I'm like, we have a Caden. Like
the wizard, man.
Dude, it's insane, because in the private aviation space, there's so much fragmentation on the services that are provided: FBO, MRO, charter, management, right? And then within each one of those, there's all these systems that don't operate well together. Yep. And just to see his ability to replicate, to integrate, to make everything fit together and speak to each other, dude, he blows my mind every day.
It's pretty crazy.
It's incredible. So,
and I got to adjust my barometer for expectations, because for all these years, I'm like, okay, Dub, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And I've got a pretty good instinct now on, I know if I give you this much, it should take you this long. Well, now I give him shit that I'm like, that'll take him all week, and he's back in like 2 hours. Like, what now? And I'm like,
making all of us look bad. Caden, chill out.
Dude, it's crazy. The way he can stack that technology to gain efficiency on stuff is mind-blowing. It's pretty awesome to watch.
Man, I can't wait to see, like, when it's all running together. Like, it's gonna be pretty incredible, man.
He's baking one hell of a cake right now.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm stoked about it.
Heck yeah.
Guys, we'll get back to the video in a sec, but first, quick question for you business owners and high achievers watching. When you're traveling around the country for deals, scaling teams, or managing stress, are you actually flying with a team that makes your life easier? Or are you dealing with scheduling headaches, surprise maintenance bills, and too many moving parts behind the scenes? Well, that's why today's sponsor, Haven Aviation Services Group, exists. Think of them as the safe haven of the sky. Haven is a vertically integrated aviation company, meaning they handle everything under one roof, from your private jet charters, aircraft management, brokerage, maintenance, avionics, and premium grade services at their FBO. For aircraft owners especially, this is the absolute real best value. Instead of juggling pilots, insurance, scheduling, maintenance, hangars, legal docs, Haven manages it all in one place. No guessing, no surprises, and no wondering why something suddenly costs 6 figures. Their entire focus is transparency, safety, and long-term planning, so you actually trust the people managing your aircraft and don't have to stress about it at all. So if you want an aviation partner that operates with the same discipline and results-driven mindset we talk about on the show, hit the link in the description to connect with Haven Aviation Services Group. Big thanks to Haven ASG for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to the show.
So what are you into that's kind of outside of the private aviation space and that might kind of surprise people?
Well, the one that probably won't surprise people, but that I'm really into is cows.
Right. I actually worked a cow into our contract. When,
you did.
You were hiring me. I was like, let's throw a cow on there.
We're negotiating that deal out, and we wind up with a cow in the contract. That's a first.
True. Half
a cow.
Because I hit you with the full cow because I knew you'd hit me back with the half cow because you're a negotiator. If I asked for the half a side of beef, you would have hit me back with a quarter.
You might have got
it's not just a hat rack, bro.
Yeah, so
you can't go to work for the Jet Cowboy and not get a cow in your contract, bro.
Yeah, I love it. And then on the cow front, because we're crazy, we can't do anything normal. So instead of just doing the regular cow route, we are doing a custom crossbreed between Highland and Wagyu. So we're calling it Scottish Wagyu, and it's making a crazy unique meat that's it's incredible. It's
And the
crazy,
Highlands are those
crazy.
furry cows.
Yeah, they're
Which it was so crazy. The other day, I had to go get something at Hobby Lobby. I don't know what it was, but you know that they have like just like home decor everywhere. Dude, furry cows were everywhere. I didn't know this was like a
Stop
craze.
looking at me.
Yeah, stop looking at me, cow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're everywhere. So I mean, people go back to that episode where we had Carl Davis on. We kind of covered the whole story, but the
on that Flyin High,
on the Flyin High episode, yeah, and so. That's where it started. Was Robin wanted a furry cow, and so we wind up through all that stuff. We wind up with these furry cows that Robin won't let me eat. I'm like, I ain't having cows that I can't eat. So the negotiation with her was, well, if it's a crossbreed, is it still a pet? And we finally decided that didn't qualify as a pet. So
that's like, how much negotiating was that?
It was a lot.
A lot.
Way more than half a cow. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. But I'm a super crypto nerd. I love cryptocurrencies and all that stuff, and everyone potentially be surprised by that. And so I play around with that. And
you did a cool Flyin High episode with Josh
Rhodes
too. That was a super intriguing conversation.
Yeah,
because I hadn't put much thought into that. I had gotten enough to where like I wouldn't like be filled with regret if it does, what they say it'll do, but I just hadn't made a priority. And so when we were filming that episode, I was like, man, there's a lot to that.
Yeah.
And it made a lot of sense. He's a great communicator on that topic and just makes it practical and accessible. That was a good episode.
Yeah, that's where I got tied into him, because when I first started getting into crypto, you get all these crypto bros all over the internet that try to talk above your head, and it's so hard to figure out what's hype, what's BS, what's real, what is this really for? Like, and Josh is just a good Midwest guy that talks plain English, tells you the facts. And so that's where I got connected with him, as I actually joined his like coaching program to learn more about crypto. And so I do like a weekly call with him and learn a lot about it from him and figure out what's real and what's not. But all that's getting vastly accelerated with AI coming along now, because it's a digital financial infrastructure that AI can use to transact business with. So it just strengthens the case for it. Now it's shining a spotlight on all this stupid meme coin shit and all this the garbage stuff that makes crypto have a bad name. The legit real world purpose tokens and real projects that have a real function, they're going to be hugely important going forward. So I keep a close pulse on what's going on with those.
Spinning a lot of plates, dude.
It's fun.
For sure. So hit me with the kibbles and bits story.
Dude, so you remember when Hurricane Katrina happened?
Oh, yeah.
And the levees broke, flooded everything out. And so there was this huge surge of help going in there, humanitarian aid, trying to help all the people. Well, one thing that a lot of people didn't realize is there's a lot of pets involved, a lot of dogs involved with that, right?
Right.
Well, we have this customer that she owned a Gulfstream 450 out here in Texas, and she heard about all this stuff, and somebody out there knew that she's a big dog lover, right? And so someone got a hold of her and said, hey, we have like all these dogs that are showing up, and we're just basically putting them in this giant pen, but we don't have anything to feed them, so they're all hungry. And so she went around town and bought all the dog food in town out from every store in this town and completely packed that Gulfstream 450 full of dog food and flew it down there to that pet rescue thing and where all the pets, strays, whatever, were getting held. And so I was like, that's crazy, dude. Like loading up a whole G450 full of dog food and flying it down there. But
man,
they were extremely happy to have it because they had all these dogs they were trying to. And then I didn't get the full download on the back end of it, but the little pieces of it I did catch is like a huge amount of those dogs were reunited with their owners because they got them all to kind of a centralized area and they knew where to go look for them. And so they saved a whole bunch of dogs out of that whole deal too. It was pretty cool.
Heck yeah. The main question though is who let the dogs out? I'm gonna wait in the car. Stupid. When I was in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago, man, we saw where like the water levels had been when the levees broke and stuff. Like I can't even imagine, man, what that had to look like.
Dude, you gotta tell them the story about the bit and why you were in New Orleans.
Oh no.
This is so funny.
So I do these corporate comedy gigs, and there's no comedy club here in Amarillo yet, so I gotta take what I can get. And so I was on a United flight and they bumped me up to business class. And so I was sitting up there and I was working on editing a video. And the guy next to me is like, "Oh, you do comedy?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, where can I check it out?" I was like, "Well, I don't have a whole lot of material out yet. And so, I got to kind of protect my bit. So I haven't thrown a lot out there yet, but I'm mainly doing these corporate gigs." And he's like, "Oh, so you'll come out and do a gig for like a business for one of their events or whatever?" I was like, "Yeah, exactly." He was like, "Well, how much would it take to get you to come out and do one of my events?" And so I threw some numbers at him, and $1 million. Yeah. So I throw some numbers at him, and he agrees way too quick. And I was like, "Dang it, I should have said twice what I told him," right? But I'm like, "Hey, this is awesome," picking up a gig just through happenstance. So we start working out some of the details. And I'm like, well, usually when I do a corporate gig, I like to, kind of research the company out a little bit, or at least the industry. So I have some jokes that land that are like specifically tailored for your people. And so where can I check your business out? He's like, "Well, we keep kind of a low profile."
So hold on. We have a comedian that has no content out and a business that's not willing to disclose what they do.
I let him listen to the bits I was editing, so he knew I had chops.
I see where this story gets its roots now.
Yes. And so he's like, "Well, we keep I have a very exclusive clientele, so we keep kind of a low profile." And so I'm like, "All right, well, can you give me anything? And what's the name of your business?" He's like, "Well, it's LLC. I'm like, "You have literally given me nothing," right? And switching it up a little bit, but he says, "Oh, it's Luxury Lifestyle Cruises LLC." I'm like, so I'm putting it together. I'm like, "Oh, so you broker these high-end cruises for wealthy people? Yeah, I get it. Why you don't have a presence?" And so I'm like, "Yeah, man, that sounds good." And so the gig is that they have like this launch party on a Friday night. They have dinner. He wants to bring me in as the entertainment, and then everybody takes off on the cruise on Saturday. And so I'm like, "Yeah, this should totally work." And I like New Orleans. And he's like, "Well, are you married?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, bring your wife, and I'll put y'all up in a hotel for the weekend. You can enjoy yourselves." I'm like, "Man, this is getting better and better, We get everything worked out. By the time I've landed, like I've got confirmation emails on all the things. So I know, this is sweet. So a couple of weeks go by, and Beth and I fly out there. And it takes freaking forever to get anywhere from Amarillo, right, when you're flying commercial. And so it was a long travel day. On that Friday when I've got to perform, by the time we get to the hotel, Beth's like, "Hey, I'm tired. I'm going to go relax." And she's heard all my jokes. I don't blame her, right? So I'm like, "Yeah, you go take it easy." And so I walk down to the ballroom where they're having this whole shindig. And they're finishing up dinner. And so they've got like the dinner configuration. It's the big round tables and, groups of 8 around all of them. So it's time for me to get up and do my thing. So I get up and I do my opener, land a couple of jokes. And while you're doing that, you got to like be reading the crowd, and you're looking for a high I personality, a party animal that you can connect with and kind of pull into the conversation a little bit, because that makes the whole room feel like they're engaged. And so I'd spotted this guy in the front left-hand table, and I was like, "That's my dude. That's my buddy. Yeah. I know he's gonna communicate with me." And so I'm like, "Which one of the questions do I want to ask him?" He's sitting there, beautiful woman next to him, and so I say, "Are y'all together?" And the whole table goes, "Yep." And then 2 of the ladies kiss each other. 2 ladies that are sitting next to 2 men, and I'm like, beginning to put together that lifestyle is not in reference to an affluent, wealthy lifestyle, but that I'm doing a comedy gig for a bunch of swingers. And I did not know that this was a swingers cruise that I am now doing comedy for. And I wasn't able to record or anything, so it was probably like 8-10 seconds, but it feels like I'm standing there like a deer in the headlights, bro, for minutes. And I'm putting it together. I feel like I'm losing the room. How am I going to get the room back? And then this dude over here is like, "Yep." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And the room is starting to kind of chuckle a little bit. I'm like, I've got to, like,
you are the joke.
Yes, which is not good for a comedian. And I finally get it, and I'm like, so it's all coming together. And bang, I was back, bro. They loved it, and it was a great gig. But yeah, that was an unexpected
little twist in the road there, huh?
Absolutely. Good times.
At least he didn't invite you to go on the cruise.
That's true. That's probably the next move, though.
Hey, can you perform on the cruise next year? That's fun.
Oh my gosh, dude. Crazy times.
Dude, I'd have given anything to see your face when that all
Me
clicked.
too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's what this
Oh
means.
my gosh.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Crazy times. Sweet, man. Episode 1 in the books.
Excited.
We did it.
Gotta get
So
rolling.
yeah. And I know you mentioned a couple of times the Flyin High podcast, which is where you interview experts in other fields. I'm super pumped about the episode that drops tomorrow, man.
Yeah,
July 4th. It's only right. Tell the people about that.
Yeah, that Alex Cole episode, man, it's gonna be great. We filmed that one in front of a live studio audience, and that was a unique new experience. And his crazy background, being a former Air Force One pilot, and just phenomenal human being, and all the stuff he's doing. I look forward to everyone hearing his story. It's gonna be cool.
Heck yeah. So check that out. That drops tomorrow, my friends. You're going to find the links to that in the show notes. And so make sure that not only do you like, subscribe, and share Jet Cowboy podcast, check out Flyin High as well. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
See y'all next week.